I was stumped, but I was also a determined mom. 30-plus years ago, 3 of our children were not maturing socially and physically as I knew they should. It looked like ADD or autism, but it wasn't. The doctors agreed it wasn't that. Medication helped a little bit for a while, but it clearly wasn't a solution. Now, I'm a very in-the-box mainstream nurse, but I'm also a determined mom focused on a better life for our kids. That pushed my thinking out of the box, and I began a search for anything that might fundamentally help them. Maybe the answer wasn't medical. What I finally found was astonishing. Programs like Brain Gym, Rhythmic Movement Training, and Ballovizics work so indirectly that I, along with everybody else, presumed that would be the last thing that would help my kids. We were wrong. It helped them tremendously. Moreover, doing 20 minutes of those movements a day gave me 2.5 hours more productivity. But the kids, the Taekwondo instructor was agog at how much one's son's form and attention span improved. But the notion of leadership skills in him? Another son's foggy look in his eyes disappeared to be replaced with newfound confidence and determination. He could finish a task now once he'd started. Our 8-year-old did pick up writing, and that had been a bit of a problem, but there was nothing dramatic going on with him. I told him he didn't need to do those movements anymore. A month later, he could not write for love nor money. I completely forgot what an enormous problem this was. After 8 hours of totally unproductive effort, I cast around and said, well, try those movements again, see what that does. He did, and in 20 minutes picked up a pencil, and in the next 2 hours wrote 2 pages of a report. This therapy was so intriguing and so effective with everybody I was working with informally that I got certified as a practitioner and instructor in Brain Gym and Rhythmic Movement Training, and I did that for 10 years. Now I meld those with similar therapies to help people with whatever they're finding more difficult than they think it should be. Stress management, anxiety, attention and focus, trauma recovery, emotional control, and more. So, do you want to see how this works? Okay, you've been sitting, listening for a while. That's good. We'll do one with the ears. Now, I have a microphone on, can't touch this ear, so I'm only going to do this with one ear. You guys all do this with 2 ears. Take your ears and pull them out a little bit and give them a good massage from top to bottom, all along the edge. Yeah, like that, up and down, 3 or 4 times. You know, the only ones that like this better than the 2nd grade teachers are the 2nd graders themselves who work so hard at trying to pay attention. Now you can cycle them forward and cycle them back a little. Okay, and put your hands down. Now, what do you notice about listening to my voice? Is it easier to focus on the words? Is it easier to understand and take in the meaning behind the words? Are you more alert? Has your mood changed? Many of you will find subtle or not so subtle changes with this exercise. So this therapy goes by many names. Perhaps primitive reflex integration is the best known, but developmental movement therapy, as I call it, is aimed at stimulating the earliest developing parts of our nervous system, the unconscious and subconscious. These simple, gentle movements were the easiest to learn, but by far the most effective of any approach I'd tried. Years of practice and teaching have shown me that the list of things that can be helped is as varied as the people who want that help. So growth can be fostered directly or indirectly. Someone learning to bat a baseball has to learn many aspects of that task. They practice standing steadily, finding the ball and seeing the ball as it hurls towards them, holding the bat and swinging it. That's the directly part. But the indirect part says that you must learn several subtasks. You have to stand sideways, chin over one shoulder, bat over the other. You must hold that bat very firmly. Your hands and your arms need really good connections with your vision and brain to know precisely how high and when to swing that. Without those subtasks mastered, baseball batting will never be yours. And so it is with human functioning. We must master a lot of very basic skills in our subconscious and unconscious nervous system so that we can focus on being successful in our conscious nervous system with whatever we're doing right now. Without that, we may be distracted by things like the body's anxiety, and attention and focus, difficulty regulating our emotions, and more. In our culture, we tend to believe that answers to difficult problems must also be difficult or complex. But perhaps the best answers are the simplest ones we hold within our bodies, our cells, our very DNA. Now, many people are happy with their lives and how they function. Others are satisfied with mainstream medical intervention. But if you're a determined mom, a determined dad, teacher, therapist, or just someone who wants life to be easier or more productive, I invite you to turn to the simplest answer and try these developmental movements out. Thank you.